Hi, you guys. Um, I want to come to you for a few minutes and talk about my story, my emancipation from the shackles of the closet. Marco did a video with his mom. It was awesome. And XD also shared his story, and a few other people have talked about their experiences. So I just want to come and share what I went through and how I came out and all of that. But first, I want to talk about my pre-emancipation, as I like to call it, kind of before I came to grips with the reality that that I am not straight. um, I had a regular childhood. Grew up in a nice neighborhood. My parents, had both of my parents, the perfect, two kids, a dog, all of that. I mean, my parents gave me everything that I could have ever dreamt of. I didn't want for anything, and not just material stuff. They gave me just a lot of emotional support, and that's part of the reason why it took me so long to come out. I didn't want to disappoint them. I felt like they worked so hard to create this family and this structure, and I didn't want to be the one who kind of threw a wrench in it. So I knew that I was different. I knew that even when I didn't know what gay was, I knew I was different, and I knew that it wasn't in society's eyes a good kind of different, and so I suppressed that. Like I said, I had a good childhood. I was raised in the church, in the choir, all of that, and middle school was harder than high school. I got jumped my eighth grade, my eighth grade year of in middle school. I got jumped on my birthday, and my mom and sister were in Pennsylvania at the pen relays. My sister ran track, and my dad was in a meeting, and so I called my sister's boyfriend, and he came and picked me up, and he kind of looked out for me or whatever, and I'm grateful to him to this day, for him being there for me. He was there for me and kind of helped me through that situation because I really didn't understand. It came out of nowhere. I really didn't get bullied that much in middle school, so it just came out of nowhere, and it was kind of like, oh, really, y'all? But whatever. I got over it. Went to high school. High school was cool. I played basketball up into my junior year. I played basketball from fourth grade to my junior year of high school, and my basketball teammates really didn't tease me to my face, but I knew that they were shading me, behind closed. I didn't want any of them, and that's the gag. None of them. I wasn't checking for none of my teammates, not on my particular team. But I wasn't checking for any of them, and so it was just kind of weird. And I had a couple of friends, on the basketball team, but I've always been in people's eyes a social butterfly. People have always kind of gravitated towards me, and so that was nice, that I had a support system even when I felt uncomfortable with my teammates. My basketball coach, though, I didn't get bullied from my teammates, but my basketball coach, he gave me hell. And I still remember to this day. I mean, he used to call me Michelle. He used to do all sorts of crazy stuff. And I told my dad a few years ago everything that happened. And I'll talk about that kind of a little later when I talk about the post emancipation. But I told my dad earlier he used to call me Michelle and stuff. And my dad, he's still mad about it. Like, my dad is upset about it. I'm sure if he saw that coach in the street, it would be some rat-a-tat-tatting going on. I mean, I just know that it still bothers my dad, especially because he wondered why I wasn't playing. He wondered why I was on the bench, and it was because responding to my coach calling me Michelle. My name's not Michelle, and so he punished me by taking my playing time. Whatever. I quit, moved on, had a great senior year, and went to college. And when I got to college, when I tell you I busted wide open. Like, when I got away from my parents, and again, it wasn't anything that they did. It was just the opportunity. It was just the liberation that came with being a freshman in college. It was just the idea that I can do what I want, say what I want, just be what I want to be, and who's gonna check me, boo? Like, it's nothing. And so when I got to school, I ended up immediately befriending some amazing people who are still in my life today. I just spoke to one of my friends that I met, my freshman year of college. I spoke to her last night. I mean, I still have dinner with, one of my other good friends, once a month. I mean, I ended up finding a great group of friends when I got to college. And that helped me also with this emancipation from the shackles of the closet that I'm speaking about. So anyway, I'm already at 5 minutes, so let me get with the program. Um, so anyway, I was free. I was still dressing a fool because I felt like I could, if I dressed like the thugs, if I looked the trade, then I would be the trade. To all of y'all out there who think that I was a mess, I was a mess. And so I still dressed horribly with the baggy clothes and all of that, and the sneakers and everything. But inside, I was tormented because I knew that that wasn't me. I've always had an appreciation for fashion. My mom's always been a big style influence in my life, and I would always be upset because I knew that on the outside, how I presented myself to the world was not who I was on the inside. And so that's one of the, I hate the word regret, but that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, is that you can't be someone who you're not, and you can't put on an armor to, you can't do that. And that's one of the things, well, you can, but in this sense, you have to be true to yourself first, and then you can play with clothes and do whatever you want when you're true to yourself. But that's another video, whatever. So anyway, I got to school, and there was this guy who stayed in my building, and I was attracted to him, and I used to talk bad about him too. I was like, oh, look at him. I need a name for him. We'll call him Eric. I was like, oh, look at Eric. He thinks he is all that, and Eric is this, and Eric is... Child, I don't know who told Eric that he was cute, but he is so feeling himself, and it is not a good look for him. And all my girlfriends were like, Mike, you know that you are checking for Eric. And I was like, whatever. So I ended up seeing him at the club one night, my very first time going to the club. I saw him there, and I was like, oh my God, it's Eric, and he is at the club. Ah. So I ended up, long story short, my friend ended up giving Eric my number. Me and Eric started doing what we were doing at the schoolhouse, in college, at my dorm, just all of that. And Eric was like, oh my gosh, Mike, I want to be with you, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, yes, that's where I'm at, we're on the same page. I'm glad. Eric was messing with somebody else. So I find out that Eric is messing with somebody else. Everything that he's been telling me, he's been telling somebody else. Like, it's just a mess, and I'm devastated. I'm heartbroken. I am like, oh, how could you do this to me? If Adele's 21 would have been out, I would have been setting fire to the rain, rolling in the deep, turning tables, just chasing pavements. It would have been, that's 19. But anyway, if Adele would have been around, oh, we would have been on the same page, because I was devastated. So I went into this deep, whatever you want to call it, and I ended up coming home for the Thanksgiving break, and my parents were like, what's wrong with you? You're home. Why aren't you happy? It's Thanksgiving. It's time to be grateful, time to be thankful, whatever. And I was just like, do I look like I want to be thankful for anything? Do I look like I want some dressing and stuff? Do I look like I want some chocolate cake? I'm going to tell you what I want. I want Eric to not be no punk bitch. That's what I want. And I'm not getting that, so nothing else matters. So just leave me alone and let me be in my feelings. But deep down inside, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to tell my parents. I wanted to let them know that your little boy is hurt. I'm always their baby boy, their little boy. And I wanted them to know that I was hurt. But I didn't think that I could. So fast forward to the day after Thanksgiving, and here we are at the Emancipation. The day after Thanksgiving, my dad goes and gets the mail. He gets his the Sprint bill, and it was at the time where ringtones were expensive, and when you had a ringtone for everybody, I mean, you had a ringtone for your the turtle in the creek up the street. You had a ringtone for everybody. And so I was just downloading every time a new song came on, I needed that ringtone. And so I had downloaded all these ringtones. So my dad was like, Mike, you gotta chill out with these 199 downloads. Like these 30 a month, I'm not gonna be able to handle. So I just lashed out. And I was like, what do you want from me? Like I just went off. I like went bonkers on my daddy. And he was just like, okay, like just don't download no more ringtones and it'll be nothing. So I go in my room and I'm like, Mike, you need to really, really get it together because if you go bonkers on your dad again, he's gonna bonkers your ass out the door and you're gonna be going back to Berry Hall by yourself for the rest of the weekend. So I was like, I really need to get it together. And then I prayed about it and I was just like, I really got to get this off my heart. And I got to do something. I can't go on like this. And I refuse to be unhappy any longer. And so I, let all my resentment towards Eric go. And I went up the stairs and I said, Dad, I need to talk. I just was, that real ugly cry, that Farrah from Teen Mom, that cry. Just real ugly, real not a good look at all. So I go upstairs and I'm like, hey, Daddy, I need to talk to you. And so he's like, what's going on, son? Like, you need to tell me what the tea is. Like, I'm not understanding. So, I tell my dad I need to no, I read him a poem and it's called The Man in the Glass. And basically, it's about just you can, hide to the world all you want, but if you're not true, kind of like Man in the Mirror, if you're not true to yourself, then nothing matters. So I read that poem to my dad, and I told him that I had something to tell him, and I waited for like 5 minutes, like it was like an eternity. And my dad was like, there's nothing that you can tell me that I probably already don't know. And so I was like, oh. Daddy just tried to clock. I was like, not too much, Dad, but still I had that fair cry, so I was just like, whatever. And so I didn't say I was gay. I said, Dad, I like boys. And like the waterworks just came out. I was crying even harder, and I was like, oh my gosh, I finally said it. And so my dad hugged me, and he said, Mike, I already know. And he was like, you're still my son. There's nothing that you can do that will ever change. And he was really, really supportive of me and kind of consoled me and all of that. And I didn't tell him about Eric or anything like that. I just told him that I was gay and he hugged me and that was that. And so I was like, oh, he's not going to put me out or nothing? I'm going to go celebrate. So me and my friends, it was Friday night, me and my friends got together. We went to the Brick. And you Dallas kids know, we went to the Brick. And I shook a tail feather at the Brick, all happy because I didn't have anything to hide. I know you guys are probably wondering, what about your mom? Like, Mama knew. Like, actually, I still haven't ever formally, hey, Mom, let me tell you, girl, Mama know. And Daddy knew too, but I'm his only son, and I always felt like I've had to deal with some feelings of letting my dad down because I'm his only boy, and I know that he had big hopes for me to bring home this beautiful looking, girl and have some beautiful kids and all of that. And, I knew that wasn't going to happen, and I know that that's probably not going to happen, and that's something that I had to deal with, so whatever. So, my parents and I have a unique relationship in that we rarely talk about it. Like, it's very rare. Most of the disagreements, most of the stuff that my parents talk about, it's usually about money, where I'm going in life, my magazine, my relationship with my nephew. It's not about, Mike, you're gay, and it's not that. And part of it is because I know that they're dealing with it in their own way, even after all of these years. And part of it is because it really doesn't matter. It's not my life. It's an aspect of my life it's part of who I am, but it doesn't define me. And I don't let people's perception of me or what they think of me, I don't let that impact who I am. And I try to project that to my parents, and we've done a really good job of not making a big deal about it because it's really not to me. I'm their son, and that's never going to change, whether I'm blue, green, orange, gay, straight, trisexual, heterosexual. Like, that doesn't matter. And my parents have always done a good job of And for the most part, I mean, my dad and I, we've had our rat-a-tat-tats about some of the things that I decide to wear and stuff like that. But for the most part, we have a pretty good relationship. My mom and I, of course, we're on the same page, and my sister. I mean, my sister's loved me regardless, and I've never told her, hey, big sister, girl, let me tell you, like, I've never done that. It was just whatever. But what it did for me is it allowed me to start living on my own terms. It allowed me to start living my life according to Mike's rules and saying forget everything else. And part of the reason that I take personal style and self expression and self love so important is because that's what has held me throughout the last few years where some things haven't all gone my way, and some my life has turned in some directions that I never anticipated that it would go. But what it did for me, what loving myself and saying I'm going to love myself and be myself in spite of, what that did for me is it allowed me to start living my life according to my rules and dealing with whatever comes because of it. And so people talk about it gets better and all of that. The reason that it gets better is because you make it better. When you come out, you quit waiting on, like, you're no longer waiting on other people to make you feel good. You're no longer waiting on, because they're not. I think that's why you come out. It's because it's like, I know that that can I'm the only one that controls my destiny, to get all philosophical and emo on you. But in reality, that's what it did for me. And, I'm better because of it. I don't think that I'm any less of an example to my nephew or to anybody else because of it. He loves me the way that I am. He wouldn't probably accept me any other way. I mean, I'm a good person, and I think that homosexuality has been turned into this huge agenda that, oh my gosh, if you're gay, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you're a good student. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter. All that matters is you're gay, and boom, that's it. You don't deserve rights. You don't deserve respect. And that's ridiculous. And I think that that's something that people are no longer, tolerating. And I think that that's what I did when I came out, is you don't have to like me. You don't have to, you don't have to. These aren't your clothes. These aren't your relationships. You don't have to like it. But you're going to respect me, and you're going to understand that I'm going to make it better, because it does get better. So that's my story. To those of you out there who have always loved me and been there for me, I post-emancipation and pre-emancipation and anywhere in between and anywhere after, I appreciate you. I love you. You're special to me. And yeah. So follow me on Twitter, MTJ Style. Go check out my magazine, jmagazine.com. We just have a new issue out today, so go look at it. Read my editor's note. It's personal. It means a lot to me, so read my editor's letter. Memo from Mike, so read that for me, and read the rest of the stuff in the magazine too. But check out my editor's letter. I'm going to be an uncle again, so that's exciting. I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter with that. And just kind of continue living your life for you and making your own decisions, whether you're straight or gay or whatever. Do you and love you, and don't wait for somebody to, define who you are or love who you are, because you'll be waiting forever. And a lot of times people love the potential of what they can make you, not who you are. And they say that they accept you for you because they think that they can take you as you are and mold you into something that they want you to be. And that's not how life works, and that's not how humans are. And anyway, I'm at 19 minutes, so I've talked way too much. But that's my emancipation. That's a story about my emancipation from the shackles of the closet. So let me know what you think. All of that, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Happy Tuesday, and happy National Coming Out Day for all of you guys who are coming out. Bye. Adios. Toodaloo. Bye, bitches.